The breaking point. The Great Assembly Hall of the Galactic Trade Federation had never witnessed such fury. Representatives from 47 different species filled the vast chamber, their voices creating a symphony of anger and frustration. Some floated in gravity-defying pods. Others stood on multiple legs, and a few existed as pure energy contained within crystalline forms. Despite their differences, they all shared one common feeling. Humanity had gone too far. Ambassador Cretal clicked, her mandibles nervously as she watched the chaos unfold. Her insectoid species, the Veltar, had been part of the Federation for over 3,000 years. They had seen conflicts before, territorial disputes and trade wars, but nothing like this. Nothing that threatened to tear apart the very fabric of galactic civilization. The massive holographic display at the center of the chamber showed image after image of human expansion. In just 200 years since first contact, humans had spread across 43 star systems. Their ships moved like a plague of locusts, consuming resources and establishing colonies with frightening speed. What made it worse was how they did it with such casual disregard for established protocols. Admiral Zephon of the crystalline hegemony raised his energy form, casting prismatic light across the chamber. His voice resonated like wind chimes in a storm. They ignore our territorial markers. They land on worlds already claimed by other species. When we protest, they smile and offer to buy the land they have already stolen. A deep rumble came from the far side of the chamber. Counselor Drex, a massive bear-like creature covered in metallic scales, stood on his hind legs. His species had been spacefaring for 5,000 years, yet humans had surpassed their expansion rate in mere decades. My people spent centuries negotiating for mining rights on Kepler 442. The humans simply arrived, set up operations, and began extracting ore. When confronted, they claimed they thought the planet was uninhabited. Ambassador Cretal stepped forward, her forearms spread in a gesture of peace. Perhaps we can reach a diplomatic solution. The humans are young. They may not understand our ways. The chamber fell silent for a moment. Then harsh laughter erupted from multiple species at once. The sound was bitter and filled with years of frustration. "Young," hissed Senator Velthak, a serpentine being whose species had tried peaceful contact with humans for decades. They are not children stumbling in the dark. They know exactly what they are doing. They take what they want and ask forgiveness later, knowing we will not go to war over a single planet or moon. The holographic display changed, showing a beautiful blue and silver moon orbiting a gas giant in the Lysandra system. The moon's surface was covered in graceful spires and floating gardens, ancient structures that had stood for millennia. It was a sacred burial ground for the ethereal Lysandrians, a place where their ancestors had been laid to rest for over 10,000 years. Then the image shifted to show the same moon 3 months later. The spires were gone, replaced by geometric, agricultural domes. The floating gardens had been cleared away for landing pads. Massive terraforming machines moved across the surface like metal insects, reshaping the landscape according to human needs. The Lysandrian representative was a being of pure light, contained within a translucent shell. When she spoke, her voice carried the weight of profound grief. They said our burial grounds were just interesting rock formations. They offered to preserve some artifacts in a museum for the resting place of our ancestors. Admiral Zephon's form flared brighter with anger. This was not ignorance. This was deliberate. Our territorial claims are broadcast on every frequency. Our warning beacons were clearly marked. The humans simply chose to ignore them. From the highest platform in the chamber, Prime Director Halo stood slowly. She was ancient even by galactic standards, having served the Federation for over 600 years. Her species, the Eternal Watchers, were known for their patience and wisdom. When she spoke, every being in the chamber listened. For 2 centuries, we have tried to integrate humanity into our civilization. We offered them membership in the Federation. We shared our knowledge of spacefaring protocols. We attempted to teach them respect for other cultures and territorial boundaries. Her voice carried disappointment that seemed to age her further. They have responded by expanding their territory by 300% while our membership Negotiations continue. The holographic display now showed the current state of human space. It was a massive bubble of systems, growing larger every month. Human ships moved through it like blood cells through arteries, carrying colonists, resources, and military equipment. At the center of it all was Earth, the blue-green world that had spawned this relentless species. They breed faster than any known sentient species, reported the Federation's chief demographer, a multi-eyed being covered in sensory organs. Their population doubles every 50 years. They establish colonies on worlds we consider uninhabitable. They adapt to environments that would kill most of us. Counselor Drex growled low in his throat. My intelligence division reports that humans now possess over 200,000 military vessels. Not merchant ships or colony transports, but warships. They claim these are for defense against pirates and hostile alien species. Hostile alien species? Senator Velthak's head swayed hypnotically. They mean us. They are preparing for war with the very Federation that tried to welcome them. Prime Director Halos activated a secure transmission that appeared only to the senior council members. What they saw made several of them step backward in shock. The images showed massive human construction projects in deep space. Shipyards the size of small moons, surrounded by defensive platforms and patrol fleets. Our long-range scouts have detected this activity in the outer rim of human space, Halos explained quietly. They are building something unprecedented. Our analysts believe it is a mobile battle station, larger than anything in our fleet. Ambassador Kretal felt her heart sink. She had spent decades trying to prevent this moment, working tirelessly to find peaceful solutions to human expansion. But looking at the evidence before her, she could no longer deny the truth. Humanity was not interested in coexistence. They wanted dominance. The Prime Director's voice carried across the chamber with finality. The Federation emergency protocol has never been invoked in our 4,000-year history. It was created as a last resort, to be used only when our very civilization faced extinction. She paused, looking at each representative in turn. I believe that moment has arrived. A chill seemed to settle over the chamber. Every species present knew what the emergency protocol meant. It authorized the deployment of the Federation's ultimate weapon, a vessel so powerful that its very existence was kept secret from most of the galaxy. Admiral Zephon's energy form pulsed with determination. The Void Reaper has been waiting in dark space for exactly this situation. It was built by our combined civilizations to face extinction-level threats. Humanity qualifies. The Void Reaper was more than a ship. It was a mobile fortress, 3 kilometers long and armed with weapons that could crack planets. Its crew consisted of the best warriors from every Federation species, and its AI was programmed with the tactical knowledge of 47 different civilizations. It had never been deployed because no threat had ever justified its use. If we do this, Ambassador Kretal said quietly, there will be no going back. We will be declaring total war on an entire species. They declared war on us the moment they desecrated the Lysandrian burial grounds, Senator Velthak replied coldly. We are simply acknowledging reality. Prime Director Halos called for the vote. One by one, each species cast their decision. The crystalline hegemony voted for deployment. The Veltar, despite Kretal's personal misgivings, voted yes. The Lysandrians, their grief too fresh, voted for war. Even the peaceful Eternal Watchers cast their vote for the emergency protocol. 47 species, 47 votes for war. The decision is unanimous. Prime Director Halos announced. Signal the Void Reaper. Begin Operation Final Warning. Deep in the void between galaxies, where no stars shone and space itself seemed empty, something ancient stirred. The Void Reaper had been waiting in hibernation for 2,000 years, its crew in stasis, its weapons powered down but ready. Now, as the activation signal reached it through quantum entanglement, the massive vessel began to wake up. Admiral Thexnar felt his consciousness return slowly as the stasis pod released him. His reptilian body was stiff from the long sleep, but his mind was sharp. Around him, the greatest warriors of the galaxy were awakening from their own pods. Each had volunteered for this mission, knowing they might never return home. The bridge of the Void Reaper was a marvel of combined Federation technology. Crystalline computers processed information at the speed of light, while organic neural networks provided intuitive analysis. Weapon systems from 47 different civilizations were integrated into a single, devastating arsenal. Report, Admiral Thexnar ordered as he took his position in the command center. His first officer, a floating energy being named Luxtar, materialized beside him. All systems are online, Admiral. The crew is fully awakened and at battle stations. Our target is the human home system, designated Sol by their charts. Thexnar studied the tactical display showing human space. It was vast, spreading across multiple sectors like a cancer. But at its heart was Earth, the world that had spawned this aggressive species. If they could break human morale by threatening their home world, perhaps the war could be ended quickly. Estimated travel time to Sol? He asked. 6 hours at maximum, hyperspace velocity, Admiral. However, our long-range sensors detect significant human fleet activity. They appear to be concentrating their forces around Earth. This gave Thexnar pause. The humans should have no way of knowing about the Void Reaper's existence, yet their behavior suggested they were preparing for something major. Either their intelligence network was better than anyone suspected, or they were planning something of their own. Sir, reported the sensor officer, a multi-eyed being whose species specialized in long-range detection. We're receiving massive data transmissions from human space. They appear to be coordinating fleet movements across their entire territory. Admiral, Thexnar studied the patterns. Every human military vessel was moving toward Sol. Transport ships were evacuating civilian populations from border colonies. Industrial facilities were switching from commercial production to military manufacturing. It looked like humanity was preparing for total war. They know we're coming, he realized aloud. Impossible, sir, Luxtar replied. The Void Reaper's existence is classified at the highest levels. No human has ever seen our ship or learned of its capabilities, but the evidence was undeniable. Humanity was mobilizing for war on a scale never before seen. Every ship, every soldier, every resource was being concentrated around their home world. They were either incredibly lucky in their timing, or they had sources of information that the Federation didn't know about. Admiral Thexnar made his decision. Signal the Federation Council, inform them that we are proceeding with the mission, but the humans appear to be prepared for our arrival. Request permission to engage immediately upon dropping out of hyperspace. The response came back within minutes. Prime Director Halos herself appeared on the communication screen, her ancient face grim with determination. Admiral, you are authorized to use whatever force necessary to end the human threat. If they will not surrender, destroy them. The galaxy cannot allow this species to spread further. As the Void Reaper entered hyperspace, racing toward the Sol system with enough firepower to destroy entire worlds, neither the Federation nor humanity realized they were about to witness something unprecedented in galactic history. They were about to learn what happened when an unstoppable force met an immovable object. In the Sol system, Admiral Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the human battleship Iron Phoenix, watching her sensors track the approach of something massive. Her crew was young by galactic standards, most of them born on colony worlds that hadn't existed a century ago. They were facing an enemy with technology thousands of years more advanced than their own. But they were human, and humans had never learned how to give up. When giants clashed, the Void Reaper dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system like a nightmare made real. Admiral Elena Rodriguez watched from the bridge of the Iron Phoenix as her sensors struggled to process what they were seeing. The alien vessel was 3 kilometers long, bristling with weapons that defied human understanding of physics. Its hull seemed to absorb light, making it appear as a dark wound against the stars. "My God," whispered Commander Sarah Mitchell, Rodriguez's tactical officer. "The energy readings are off the charts. That thing could vaporize our entire fleet without breaking a sweat." Rodriguez studied the impossible vessel through the viewscreen. Around Earth, humanity's greatest fleet waited. 300 ships representing everything humans had learned about space warfare in 2 centuries. against the alien dreadnought. They looked like toys floating in a bathtub. "Incoming transmission," reported Communications Officer Torres. "It's from the alien vessel." The main screen flickered, and Admiral Thexnar's reptilian face appeared. His scales were deep green with silver markings that indicated high rank in whatever military structure he served. Behind him, the bridge of the Void Reaper stretched into darkness, filled with beings from species Rodriguez had never seen before. "I am Admiral Thexnar of the Galactic Federation enforcement vessel Void Reaper," the alien said. His voice was cold, mechanical, translated by systems far more advanced than human technology. "By unanimous decision of the Federation Council, humanity has been designated a threat to galactic civilization. You will stand down your military forces and surrender immediately." Rodriguez stepped forward. She was a small woman, barely 5 feet tall, but she carried herself with the authority of someone who had commanded starships since before most of her crew was born. Her family had served in Earth's Navy for 6 generations, through the water wars, the African conflict, and now the greatest challenge humanity had ever faced. "I am Admiral Elena Rodriguez of the United Earth Defense Force. We are willing to discuss terms, but we will not surrender unconditionally to alien forces." Thexnar's head tilted slightly, a gesture that might have been confusion or amusement. "You misunderstand the situation, Admiral. This is not a negotiation. You have 6 hours to evacuate your military vessels and prepare for Federation oversight of your species. Failure to comply will result in the elimination of human civilization." The transmission ended, leaving Rodriguez staring at a blank screen. Silence filled the bridge of the Iron Phoenix. Everyone present understood they had just been given a death sentence. "Admiral," Sarah Mitchell said quietly, "even if we had 6 days, we couldn't evacuate 300 ships. And where would we go? They control the entire galaxy except for our space." Rodriguez opened a channel to Earth Command. President Chen appeared immediately, surrounded by the Joint Chiefs and civilian leadership. The weight of an entire species' survival rested on the decisions made in the next few hours. "Madam President," Rodriguez began, "you heard their ultimatum. We need guidance." President Chen was a former colony administrator who had fought pirates and hostile aliens on 3 different worlds before entering politics. Her face showed the same determination that had carried humanity from caves to the stars in the geological blink of an eye. "Admiral, let me ask you something. In all of human history, has surrender ever guaranteed survival?" Rodriguez knew the answer. Every culture on Earth had stories of conquered peoples who trusted their conquerors and were wiped out anyway. The Native Americans who signed treaties that were broken. The civilizations that surrendered to invaders and disappeared from history. No, ma'am. Surrender usually just means dying on your knees instead of on your feet. "Then we fight," Chen said simply. "Signal all ships. We are not surrendering. We are not running. We are going to show this galaxy what humans do when someone tries to destroy our home." Rodriguez felt something settle in her chest. Fear. Yes. But also a strange kind of peace. For 2 centuries, humans had been expanding, exploring, building. Now they would find out if they could fight for what they had built. She opened a channel to the entire fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Rodriguez. You heard the President. We are not giving up. We are not bowing down. In 6 hours, we face an enemy with technology we can barely comprehend. But we have something they don't understand." She paused, looking at the faces of her crew. Young faces, most of them born on worlds that hadn't existed when she was their age. "We are human. We climbed out of caves with nothing but rocks and sticks. We built cities. We sailed oceans. We reached for the stars. Every single one of our ancestors faced impossible odds and somehow survived. Today, we honor them." The response came back from 300 ships at once. "Ready to fight, Admiral." But Rodriguez knew they were missing something crucial. The alien vessel was alone. One ship, no matter how powerful, against an entire star system. There had to be a reason for that confidence. "Dr. Chen," she called to the ship's chief scientist. "Analysis of the enemy vessel?" Dr. James Chen was unrelated to the president but shared her stubborn streak. He had been studying alien technology since first contact, legally and otherwise. "Admiral, their technology is at least 1,000 years ahead of ours. But there's something interesting in their transmission, the way their universal translator worked, the quantum signatures of their communication array. I've seen similar patterns before." "Where?" "The wreckage we recovered from the Proxima incident 3 years ago. The alien ship that attacked our mining station. Our people reverse-engineered some of their technology, but we kept it classified." Rodriguez felt a spark of hope. If humans had been studying alien technology for years, maybe they weren't as helpless as they appeared. "What did we learn?" "Their shields operate on harmonic frequencies. Disrupt the frequency and you can punch through defenses that should be impenetrable. Their weapons are energy-based, incredibly powerful, but they have a charging cycle. And Admiral, they think in terms of traditional space combat, ship-to-ship, formation fighting. And humans think differently?" Chen smiled grimly. "We think, like guerrilla fighters who learned to build starships, we don't fight fair." The first human attack came exactly 6 hours after the ultimatum. Admiral Thexnar watched with professional interest as the primitive human fleet scattered in all directions like frightened animals. Their formation made no tactical sense. They were abandoning any attempt at coordinated defense. That was when the human destroyer Indomitable broke from the group and accelerated directly toward the Void Reaper at maximum velocity. "Disable their engines," Thexnar ordered calmly. "Show them the futility of resistance." Defense batteries opened fire, tearing holes in the human ship's hull. It should have stopped. Instead, it kept coming, bleeding atmosphere and trailing debris, but never slowing down. "Sir, they're not responding to our warning shots," and his tactical officer reported with confusion. "Then destroy them." More weapons fired. The human ship was gutted, its crew compartments venting into space, but still it came on. At the last moment, a transmission burst from the dying vessel. The voice was young, maybe 25 years old. "Tell my daughter I tried to make her proud." The ship hit the Void Reaper's shields at nearly half the speed of light. The explosion was magnificent, but should have been harmless. The Void Reaper's shields could stop asteroids. One small human ship should have been insignificant. Instead, alarms began screaming across the bridge. "Report," Thexnar roared. "Sir, shield generators 7 through 14 are offline. The humans overloaded their fusion reactor at the moment of impact. The energy release created a harmonic disruption in our shield matrix." Before Thexnar could respond, 23 more human ships were racing toward different points on his vessel. Each one transmitted final messages as they died. "Remember us. For Earth. Tell them we tried." "Impossible," hissed Commander Siltax, the ship's intelligence officer. "How could they know our shield frequencies? We've never shared that technology with anyone." The answer came from the ship's long-range sensors. "Admiral, I'm detecting massive data transmissions from human installations throughout the system. They're running millions of combat simulations in real time, analyzing our defensive responses with every impact." Thexnar stared at the tactical display in growing amazement. The humans weren't just throwing themselves at his ship randomly. They were learning from each death, using every sacrifice to make the next attack more effective. In minutes, they had gone from helpless to dangerous. "Sir, we have another problem," his engineering officer reported. "The humans aren't just attacking us. They're modifying the entire star system." The display zoomed out to show human activity throughout Sol. Mining ships that had been processing asteroids were now accelerating them toward the Void Reaper. Space stations were changing their orbits to provide better firing angles. On Earth itself, every factory had stopped making civilian goods and was now producing ships. "What are they building?" Thexnar demanded. "Sir, they're not building traditional warships," his science officer replied with something approaching awe. "They're building guided missiles, thousands of them, each one designed for a single purpose: to deliver maximum kinetic energy to specific weak points in our hull." The second wave of human attacks began. This time, the ships moved with perfect coordination, each targeting the exact spots where previous impacts had weakened the Void Reaper's defenses. The humans had learned from their losses and adapted their tactics in real time. Shields at 40%, the tactical officer reported. Sir, at this rate of attrition, we may actually be in danger. Deploy all fighters, Thexnar commanded. Show these primitives what real space combat looks like. The Void Reaper's fighter bays opened like the mouth of some cosmic predator. 2,000 of the most advanced fighter craft in the galaxy poured out, each piloted by warriors from species that had been perfecting space combat for millennia. They encountered something no galactic warrior had ever faced: human military. Doctrine applied to space warfare. The humans didn't try to fight fair. When caught in the open, they rammed their fighters into enemy craft rather than be captured. When outnumbered, they hid among the wreckage of their own destroyed vessels and launched ambush attacks. They coordinated with weapons platforms on Earth that had been converted from civilian installations. Sir, his fighter commander reported, strain clear in his voice. The humans are using unconventional tactics. They're treating this like ground combat extended into 3 dimensions. They use cover, they set traps, they sacrifice small units to destroy larger ones. But the most disturbing report came from long-range sensors. Admiral, massive activity detected on the human homeworld. They've evacuated their cities, but not to shelters. They're moving their entire population to industrial centers. Thexnar watched the feeds from Earth's surface in growing unease. Humans were converting everything into weapons production. Schools became ammunition factories. Shopping centers became ship assembly lines. Even children were working alongside adults, building components for the war effort. They've mobilized their entire species, he realized. Not just their military. Everyone. Sir, incoming transmission from the human flagship. Admiral Rodriguez appeared on the screen again. This time, her uniform was torn and her face was streaked with soot, but her eyes burned with determination. Admiral Thexnar, I have a message for your Federation Council. You wanted to see what humanity is made of. Now you know. We don't surrender. We don't give up. You can kill us, but you can't conquer us. Your resistance is pointless, Thexnar replied. We have superior technology, superior numbers, superior firepower. You have all of that, Rodriguez agreed. But you made one mistake. You threatened our home. There is no fury in the universe like a human defending their family. As if summoned by her words, a new signal appeared on the Void Reaper's sensors. Something massive was emerging from behind Earth's moon. At first, Thexnar thought it was another human battleship. Then the scope of what he was seeing became clear. The humans had converted an asteroid mining station into a kinetic bombardment platform. It was crude, ugly, and massive. Its weapons were nothing more sophisticated than magnetic accelerators, but they were firing projectiles the size of buildings at a significant fraction of light speed. Evasive action, Thexnar ordered, but the Void Reaper was too large to dodge effectively. The first salvo struck the alien vessel's lower hull, punching through armor that had been designed to withstand planet-killer weapons. The impacts sent shockwaves through the entire ship. How is this possible? Commander Siltax demanded. Their technology is primitive. Dr. Chen's voice came over the communication channel, calm and matter-of-fact. We've been studying your technology for 3 years, Admiral. Every piece of wreckage, every captured component. We may not understand how it works, but we understand how it breaks. The battle that followed would be remembered as the moment when the galaxy learned what humanity truly was. Not a species to be conquered or controlled, but a force of nature that had somehow learned to build starships. The Void Reaper was more powerful than any human vessel. Its weapons could vaporize ships, its shields could deflect planet killers. But it was one ship facing an entire species that refused to die quietly. Hours passed. The alien vessel's shields failed and were restored. Its armor was breached and repaired. Its fighter squadrons were decimated and replaced. But for every human ship destroyed, 2 more took its place. For every attack repelled, 3 new ones began. Finally, Admiral Thexnar did something no Federation commander had ever done in 4,000 years of galactic civilization. He opened a channel to the human fleet and said, I request a ceasefire. We need to talk. Admiral Rodriguez appeared, on the screen again. This time she was smiling. I'm listening. Your species, Thexnar said slowly. Fights like nothing we have ever encountered. You turn civilian infrastructure into weapons. You sacrifice yourselves without hesitation. You adapt to new situations faster than our computers can calculate responses. Is that a compliment or a complaint? It is a revelation. The Federation Council believed humanity was a threat because of your expansion. But we understand now. You are not expanding because you are aggressive. You are expanding because expansion is how you survive. It is what you are. Rodriguez nodded. We've never had a choice. Our planet almost killed us a dozen times before we reached the stars. Ice ages, supervolcanoes, asteroid impacts, plagues. We learned that staying in one place means extinction. We spread out because that's how we make sure the species survives. And when threatened, you fight with everything you have because surrender means the death of your children. Now you're getting it. Admiral Thexnar looked around his damaged bridge, at his exhausted crew, at the tactical displays showing human reinforcements still arriving from across their space. The Void Reaper could probably still win this battle, but at what cost? And what would happen when humanity rebuilt and came looking for revenge? Admiral Rodriguez, I am going to make you an offer that will probably cost me my command. The Federation Council sent me here to destroy humanity, but I believe they made an error in judgment. What kind of offer? Alliance. The Federation has enemies too. Ancient machine intelligences that wake up every few thousand years and try to sterilize the galaxy. Extragalactic invaders that see all organic life as a disease to be cured. Threats that require unconventional thinking to defeat. Rodriguez looked at her tactical displays showing the damaged but still dangerous alien vessel. You're offering us membership in your Federation? I am offering humanity a chance to teach the galaxy how to fight. In exchange, we will teach you how to explore without destroying, how to expand without making enemies, how to be part of galactic civilization instead of threatening it. The channel was quiet for a long moment as Rodriguez consulted with Earth Command. When she returned, her expression was thoughtful. Admiral Thexnar, humanity accepts your offer, but understand this. We will never again bow to ultimatums or threats. We are partners or we are enemies. There is no middle ground. Understood. Admiral, welcome to the galaxy. As the two fleets stood down their weapons and began rescue operations for survivors on both sides, a new chapter in galactic history began. The Federation had learned that some species could not be conquered or controlled, only allied with, and humanity had learned that the galaxy was full of wonders they had never imagined. But somewhere in the dark space between galaxies, ancient sensors detected the energy signatures of the battle that had just ended. Mechanical minds that had slept for millennia began to stir, analyzing the data and reaching conclusions that would have terrified both the Federation and humanity. The real war was just beginning.